I remember you woke up so early and so excited. Rumor had it that a very important person was within walking distance from the city. You personally wanted to visit this VIP, this man called Jesus. You believed that he would love to see you too, just as much. Watching you squirm a little bit as you floated your bright idea past Mom and I was kind of fun. First thing Saturday morning, you gave it your best shot. How I must have looked. Now it was my turn to squirm, trying to think up an answer. Yeah, I'm sure that didn't go as you had planned. We gave your bright idea the proverbial reality check. A, you're just a little child. B, and there's bound to be lots of adults, big people, who will quickly remind you you shouldn't be cutting in on their time with a VIP. The men in particular, because they're not me, your daddy who loves you very much, they'll treat you like you don't have anything to offer a VIP. So, reality is, probably no one other than Mommy and I will want your bright idea to succeed. But I gotta say, you didn't back down. You insisted that Jesus was different. Yes, other adults often treated you much less than a daddy would. But Jesus would be different. He'll see you. You really, really, really wanted to at least give it a try. Because we loved you, Mommy and I agreed to let you go for it. Just as I suspected, I heard your mother say, Jesus has quite a large crowd following him, pressing in on him. But I picked you up, put you on my shoulders. You sat there, riding tall in the saddle, excited, focused, jaw set, and together we trotted to the center of the pack. Funny thing is, as I looked around, I discovered we weren't the only family going for it. A lot of your friends had the same bright idea. All of us mommies and daddies were looking at each other, giving the I know look and smile. In fact, people were bringing little children to Jesus. They wanted him to touch them. I certainly did. I brought you there so you could see him and be seen by him. Then everything came to a screeching halt, stopped dead in our tracks. Jesus seemed to have an entourage, and we had gotten so close, squeezed in through and passed up so many of the big people. The VIP's men, Jesus' disciples, they didn't mince their words. But the disciples rebuked them. The disciples rebuked us parents. That stung. Now my jaw was starting to set, but before I reacted without thinking and did something you'd be embarrassed of, you slowed me down with a question. What's an entourage? Remember how I answered you? Okay, I was miffed at the time. Mom clarified that big people, VIPs, often travel with a pack, dedicated to taking care of their needs. One of those VIP needs, keeping undesirables away. So with you, now deflated, on my shoulders, we started to turn away. When Jesus saw this, he was angry. He said to his disciples, "Let the little children come to me. Don't keep them away. God's kingdom belongs to people like them." Whoa! That got our attention. Watching Jesus rebuke them made me wonder how the disciples felt. Well, boys, getting snarled at don't feel so good, does it? At this point, the crowd and the rebuking disciples were silent. Jesus had every single person's attention when he continued to speak. What I am about to tell you is true. Anyone who will not receive God's kingdom like a little child will never enter it. That was you, my beloved little child. being used as an object lesson for all the big people to see. If they don't become like you, they ain't going to heaven. You had something to offer after all. The lesson about faith and the gospel. Then all you little ones stepped forward and were received by Jesus, the VIP of VIPs, the biggest of all the big people. Wow, I will never forget that moment. All the mommies and daddies were sporting the me neither look. And if that wasn't enough, then he took the children in his arms, he put his hands on them and blessed them. He put his hands on all of you. He blessed each and every one of you. You could tell it was important to him. He valued this time with you. He loved you little guys, you little children. Don't ever forget his lesson that day, how you received the kingdom of heaven. The point is, all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. And the wages of sin is death. But the gift of God is eternal life. God demonstrated his love toward us in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Now, just because Christ died for everybody on the cross doesn't mean everybody is saved. The only way that his salvation gets applied to you is by receiving it, by believing in the gospel promise, receiving the kingdom in faith. That's what you guys demonstrate so clearly. Well, the sun started to set, so we headed back home. We couldn't stop talking about what happened. Smiles permanently carved into our cheeks. We could hear that everyone else was discussing and being blown away by the special day's events. We knew that starting tomorrow and continuing on every day after that, life for you little people would be totally different. Little children would never be looked down upon in the same way again. Not ever.